Remember that crazy bunch you grew up with?
Those kids were terrific.
Now you can see them again when the whole gang gets together for a very Brady Christmas tonight. Sunday on CBS. Come celebrate the season with the ultimate Christmas story. Join George C. Scott and Edward Woodward, A Christmas Carol.
Humbug.
Monday, the award-winning Christmas classic that inspired the family series The Waltons. Patricia Neal, Richard Thomas, The Homecoming, A Christmas Story.
Good day from CBS News. Dan Rather with a special edition of Newsbreak. Crowds in Bucharest today celebrated the downfall of Romania's hardline President Ceaușescu. He disappeared after he was forced out of office. He's said to be under arrest. Fighting is reported between dissidents and forces loyal to him. U.S. troops continued trying to secure Panama City 2 days after the American military invasion. Looting persisted in spite of efforts to curb it. Panama's General Noriega is still at large. The Pentagon now officially lists 20 American servicemen killed in the fighting, 202 wounded and 2 missing. They opened the Berlin Wall at the Brandenburg Gate today. West German Chancellor Kohl called it a fantastic thing. The gate, which was closed 28 years ago, has been a symbol of Germany's division. The Senate Ethics Committee says it will conduct a formal investigation of 5 senators who intervened in behalf of political donor Charles Keating. Now this.
My headaches are full-grown, adult-sized bangaroos, so I bang them back with Bear. It's strong. It's not an aspirin substitute. It's made for adults, just like you and me.
For adult-sized pain, Bayer, the wonder drug that works wonders.
In much of this country, everyone is talking about the cold weather. Record low temperatures reported again this morning in many places. 13 below in Cleveland, knocking down a record set in 1872. Here by the fire, Dan Rather, CBS News. More news later as developments warrant, and we'll see you tonight on the evening news.
This is CBS.
Make our move.
This CBS News special report is part of our continuing coverage of the situation in Panama. From CBS News headquarters in New York, here is Dan Rather.
Good day. The fighting continues in Panama. Some problems are developing in the military operation there. President Bush is about to go on vacation. As part of his preparation for going, he's appearing at the National Institutes of Health today. He's making brief remarks to victims of AIDS and their families, and he's also going to talk about Panama, we're told. So as the president begins making his remarks, we will switch live to Washington with a notation that the official list of U.S. casualties to date is 20 servicemen killed, 210 wounded, 4 people in killed or injured, and there's no word yet on the whereabouts of Manuel Noriega. So let's switch now and pick up the president in progress. As we note, the reason we're on the air with this is we're told that the president is going to have something to say about Panama. So we pick up the president in progress in Washington, D.C.
A word about another area before I just make a few comments on your work, your wonderful work. I am sure that your hearts and minds are with our kids, our brave soldiers in Panama. So let me just say a quick word about that. As I said yesterday, all human life is precious. And we're all children of a loving God. And we sorrow at the casualties in Panama. But we know that nothing is more crucial to peace on earth than freedom and democracy. And that's what our American soldiers are achieving, freedom and human liberty for those who have endured brutal tyranny and brutal oppression. And this weekend, Americans will begin our traditional holiday celebration. And it is a time of rest and reflection, and most of all of family. And while America stops to catch its breath from the dramatic events of 1989, I assure you that through these holidays, we will not forget our brave soldiers down there and their families. We will continue to do what is necessary to help the people of Panama achieve the democratic society that they voted for and that they so rightfully deserve. In these last days before Christmas, I did want to stop by here and salute what you were doing in biomedical research. the best, the very finest, all of you. For here too, in your way, you are standing for decency. You're helping to improve the health of millions of Americans. And even more, like those soldiers in Panama, those heroes, you're giving the greatest gift imaginable, the gift of life.
President Bush appearing before AIDS victims and their families and those who are trying to find ways to aid AIDS victims. The president's vacation schedule, as previously announced by the White House, he'll go to Camp David, then he plans to go bird hunting in Texas, possibly fishing in Georgia. As part of his holiday vacation schedule, which the White House insists that the president will adhere to. In Panama, the main military headquarters of the United States has come just in the last few minutes under mortar attack again. CBS News correspondent Richard Threlkeld is there, and I talked to him just a short while ago.
Well, Dan, about an hour and a half ago, a serious firefight broke out not too far from where we are here at Southcom. We're on top of a hill at the headquarters of U.S. Military Command. You could hear the crump of incoming mortars. At one time, a small burst of AK-47 fire drove us all to the floor here, and the rattle of outgoing small arms fire from U.S. troops. Apparently what it is the kind of sort of thing they've had here for the last 2 days. U.S. troops confronting small bands of PDF Defense Force troops, diehard Noriega loyalists, who pop up in one area, do some sniper fire, a small battle develops, and then an overwhelming number of U.S. troops come in. They fade away, the PDF does, pops up somewhere else. The problem they're going to have to continue to contend with at least another 2 days, I would say.
Richard, this is classic guerrilla warfare technique. Is this overall U.S. military operation beginning to have problems there?
Well, I think they've had some problems from the beginning. You've got a city of 1 million people. What they don't want to do, Dan, now you're hearing some incoming mortar fire, the kind of thing that we've heard for the last hour or so, probably about a mile from here in the Balboa residential section. This has been going on and off for about 2 hours. Sure, they're having problems. Big problem is they don't want to take a lot of their own casualties, U.S. troops, a lot of civilian casualties. They want to avoid massive destroying of block after block of Panama City. So this is a calculated risk they're taking.
Well, as you know, with your experience, Richard, the classic way to handle this is to suppress that with either airstrikes or tank movement. Now, I saw some tanks moving behind you earlier. Is there some thought of doing that, or they want to hold off?
Well, the problem is, Dan, there are people down there, civilian people. Not half a mile from here, not too far from where all this is going on, are 5,000 Panamanian refugees, living people with nothing to eat, no place to sleep, no homes left. And you want to do everything you can, obviously, to preserve those folks' lives.
And what is your ability to cover this, Richard? Are you being mightily restricted by the military or generally restricted? What's the situation on coverage?
We're being helped immeasurably by the U.S. military. Our restrictions come from the sniper fire from former PDF members who have kept the center of this city unsafe. It's a very dangerous thing to run down this hill and to try to take pictures. It's dangerous enough to try to take pictures, obviously, from up here.
Any word on where Manuel Noriega may be?
No, they're still looking for him, and one of the problems is that they have had the U.S. military to spend an inordinate amount of time and effort looking for him. It's a big country, Dan, you know, and it may be a while before they find him. They have no doubt that they will find him, dead or alive.
Richard Threlkeld on the scene in Panama, and as you heard and perhaps saw, mortar fire coming in within the last hour to the U.S. military headquarters there. As Richard explained, it's a case of fire and movement on the part of the Noriega loyalist guerrillas. They can set down a mortar, lob some rounds in, and quickly move on to another place. There's also been what he described as a substantial firefight around the U.S. military headquarters within the last 2 hours. We're going to go now to Pentagon correspondent David Martin. David, what about the search for Noriega?
Well, I think on at least 2 occasions in the last 48 hours, Dan, they thought they were awfully close. They had a report that they took to be reliable on his whereabouts Wednesday night. And at daybreak Thursday, they hit that place. It was in Panama City, and he was not there. They had a second report on another location, which was not given the same degree of confidence but was good enough to act on. They went there, and he was gone from there as well. But the word they use here is we're getting warm. We ought to point out the price that has been paid to try to get Manuel Noriega. You remember the 4 Navy SEALs who were killed going after the airport where his private jet, getaway jet is kept. Well, the Navy also had either 7 or 8 SEALs wounded in that engagement out of a total unit that numbered only about 20. So that one unit took 50% casualties. That's given up a lot of people to get one man.
David, when the Pentagon officials, including Secretary of Defense Cheney, look and listen to our coverage, do they feel we're being unfair, inaccurate in any one particular area? I think we need to give them an opportunity to speak back to us on that.
Well, I asked last night around midnight, I asked the Pentagon spokesman, Pete Williams, what he thought of the coverage, and he had no complaints. I think, you know, military actions always have a pattern. When they first jump off, the public and everybody is supportive of American troops in the field. Then when the bodies start to come home and the reality of combat starts to sink in on people, then the second thoughts start to come in. Was it worth it? How much longer is this going to go on? And that's the phase we're entering now. So I don't think they have much to complain about in the press coverage up to now, but I think from now on there are going to be a lot more difficult questions to answer. We're going to find out about operational foul-ups, which just had to have happened. I've been told that a couple of the airdrops missed the drop zone, and I've been told that in one case, one of those Navy SEALs perhaps died because they were slow in medevacing him. Those are the kinds of stories you're starting to hear now, and they'll accumulate. And as the bodies come home, those stories are going to start to have a resonance.
David Martin at the Pentagon, keeping in mind how difficult it is to make parachute drops at any time, but particularly at night, as the early parachute jumps were made in the war in Panama. Richard Threlkeld, our correspondent, we're going to go back to him now live in Panama City. Richard, if you're there and reading us loud and clear, what is the situation at the moment since we last talked?
Well, Dan, that firefight that has occupied most of the morning continues. Perhaps you can hear some of the military jets going in. They and the helicopters are starting to get involved. I think you made exactly the right point a moment ago. This is not World War III. This is one of a series, and there have been many, of nasty little skirmishes in an urban environment, but those are the kind of skirmishes that can take American casualties and can cause heavy casualties among American troops here. We've been lucky in that regard so far.
Good point, Richard. That small skirmish can be hell if you happen to be one of the people whose lives is on the line when they're skirmishing. Now, in the day's other news, and on practically any other day, this would be the lead story, and perhaps in your mind it will be before this day is out, the move of government, the complete change of governments rolling through Europe, rolled through Romania today with the toppling of the hardline, old-line communist government of Nicolae Ceaușescu. It began last evening with intense firing reported on some remarkable home video shot in Bucharest. Later, cheering crowds jammed the center of Bucharest after this firing. The word was liberty as the huge crowd in Bucharest celebrated the fall of a man who had ruled with a strong fist, an iron fist, for 24 years. Romania's former UN representative led the cheers from a balcony overlooking the large square, and anti-Ceaușescu leaders appeared on state television to give news of their latest triumph. There have been conflicting reports all morning about the whereabouts of Ceaușescu. First, that he was captured, then that he had escaped, but the latest accounts say that he's in custody again, having been arrested in a town some 45 miles from Bucharest. Fair to say that nobody actually knows exactly what's happened to Ceaușescu. Some fighting is still reported between troops loyal to the old-line communist government and soldiers who helped to lead the overthrow. 1989 goes out as it has been for much of the year, just one momentous event after another seeming to tumble in front of us. The White House reacted to the news of the overthrow of Ceaușescu by saying that a terrible burden appears to have been lifted from Romania. Now, we'll be trying to keep you up to date on all of this throughout the day, including putting in context and perspective as accurately and as fairly as we can the war in Panama. And of course, we'll have complete details tonight on the CBS Evening News. So stay tuned to this CBS station. We'll see you as we go along.
This has been a CBS News special report.